Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Mari G and I'm back with another sewing tutorial. In this tutorial, I will be showing you how I made this fur jacket. The process was long, so I will be uploading the full tutorial in multiple parts. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell to be notified for part 2. This jacket has outside pockets, inside pockets, lining, a zipper, and a hood. If you'd like to see how I did it, continue watching. In this part, I will show you how I made the lining. To make this jacket, you will need a jacket to make a pattern, paper, pencil, rulers, and a zipper that is at least 1 to 2 inches longer than your actual jacket. I recommend using a jacket with a hood so that you can make your hood pattern, but I already have a hood pattern, so I won't be using one. I have 2 yards of fur and 2 yards of velvet for my lining. You will also need paper scissors, fabric scissors, needles, pins, tape, thread scissors, extra bobbins, seam ripper, tape measure, and a zipper. On my zipper, I made a marking that was 1/2 inch away from the zipper pull. This marking indicates where I will place the fur and the hood and the lining when I attach them. So pattern making was entirely way too long, so I will be putting links below to show you how to trace your jacket to make your pattern. Here I am showing you what I did to my front bodice piece. So once you have your front piece, pause and rewind as many times as you need. On the left side, I marked 3 inches away from the side seam, starting from the bottom all the way to the top, to make the strip that you see on the right. Once I had the strip, I took a ruler and made a marking 2.5 inches away from the bottom of the pattern, and from that I went up 6 inches. These lines indicate where I will make my 1/4 inch clip marks onto the actual fabric for the front and the pocket pieces. 6 inch space is where the actual pocket piece will be placed. I will be using this front pattern for my fur and for my lining. I will be cutting out 4 pieces total, 2 of my lining and 2 of my fur. Once I labeled the pattern, I separated both pieces. And then I added a 1/2 inch seam allowance to both pieces. You can do this by placing this on an extra piece of paper, taping it down, and then using a tape measure and marking 1/2 inch away all the way around. And then cut it out and do the same thing to the other piece. These 2 pieces make the entire front bodice piece, so you will still need a total of 4 pieces for each piece, 2 for the fur and 2 for the lining. To make my pocket pattern, I placed my hand on the edge of my paper and traced around it. And then I placed my phone on top of that and retraced around it so that I can make sure that my phone could fit in my pocket. Once I had my pocket pattern, I placed it up against my front bodice piece, ensuring that the pointy part pointed up towards the armhole. I did this to match the clip markings from the bodice piece to create them onto the pocket piece. It was 1 inch from the top and 1 inch from the bottom. The front bodice piece and the pocket piece are the only unique pieces that I made. I will be using these patterns for both the fur and the lining fabric. For the lining fabric, I will cut out 1 whole back piece, and I will not be placing this onto the fold, making a seam down the middle back. I will cut out 2 front pieces, 2 hoods, 2 sleeves, and 8 pocket pieces. For the fur fabric, I will cut out 1 whole back piece, 2 whole front pieces, 2 hood pieces, and 2 sleeves. Remember that these 2 pieces make 1 whole front bodice piece. If you want your lining pockets to be above the chest, then do the same thing to the front edge of your bodice pattern. If you don't want pockets in your lining or at all, don't make a strip. Skip to the timestamp in your description box. There you will also find the links to show you how to copy your jacket to make a sewing pattern. When you cut out your fabric, try not to clip too much when you make your clip markings. I start by attaching the pocket and creating the front bodice piece. Place the pocket onto the bodice pattern with the corner pointing towards the armhole with the right sides of the fabric facing together. Match up the clip marks and line up the edges of the fabric. Sew from the first clip mark to the second clip mark. If you do 1/4 inch clip marking, do 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. or just be sure to sew right behind your clip marking. That way you won't have any holes in your pockets. Like I did, I had to go back and hand sew. Once you are done sewing, this is how it will look. Clip your threads and flip the pocket piece over. Flatten out the seam and top stitch 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Sew down from the first clip marking all the way down to the second clip marking. After top stitching, I placed the second pocket pattern piece onto the first with right sides touching. I matched up the edges and the clip markings, and then I pinned the opposite side so I could see what I was doing when I top stitched again. After pinning both sides, I sewn straight across from each clip marking all the way to the stitch line. This is what my pocket looked like after. Then I closed off the pocket by matching the edges of the pocket pattern and then sewing all the way around. I stopped at the top corner and I pivoted all the way around and sewn to the next clip marking. After sewing, I attached the second front bodice piece onto the first piece, and I just pinned it starting from the bottom all the way to the top. Sure to grab that point corner at the top and pin that down to the armhole of the first bodice piece because that is a part of the armhole. In the right hand corner, you can see what I'm talking about. When I was done pinning, I sewn all the way down. So you're going to want to do this to both of your front pieces. When you are done attaching the pocket and creating both front bodice pieces, this is how it is going to look. After creating the front bodice piece, I attached the front bodice to the back bodice piece with right sides together. I started sewing at the shoulder seam and then down the side seam. Once the back and the front pieces are attached, it's time to attach the sleeve. For one sleeve, you will have to leave a 7-inch gap in between your sewing. You will only do this for one sleeve of the lining. You do not have to do this for the fur. I am pulling the bottom of the jacket through this gap when I attach the lining and the fur. In the upper left corner, you can see what I mean. So I'm going to start sewing at the top pin and stop at the second, and then I'm going to lock my stitch and restart at the next pin. Okay, please forgive me. I did not do a very good job at recording this part, but basically I am attaching the sleeve to the bodice. I pinned together the shoulder point of the sleeve to the shoulder seam of the bodice, and then I pinned together the armpit hole of the sleeve to the armpit hole of the bodice, pinning all the way around the armhole, and then I sewn all the way around. Here you can see me putting it together, right sides together. It looks a little better, but pin all the way around and then sew. I do have a video on my channel of how to make a hoodie, and in that video I do show you better on how to attach a sleeve to your bodice. Once the sleeves are attached to the bodice, the lining is complete. This is what mine looked like. To create the fur jacket, you will follow the first couple steps in this video, but in the next video, I will show you how I put together the fur jacket and how I attach the lining, the zipper, and the hood. We'll be uploading part 2 next Sunday. If you would like to be notified when that video is uploaded, click subscribe and click the bell button. Also, once I reach 100 subscribers, I will be doing a free giveaway. You can follow me on Instagram at _XOMariG. I post my new makes on Instagram, and I also post new items that are available in my online store. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it so much.